You know, I said I was never gonna sell the Sony ZV-E1, yet here we are making a video about selling my Sony ZV-E1. In this video, I'm gonna talk about why I'm selling it and what camera I'm replacing it for. So let's do it. What's up, y'all? It's Terry Wolf, and I'm back for another video. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Remember to be thankful for your freaking life today because you didn't have to have that. So a few things before we get started. We're talking about the ZV-E1 and why I'm selling it. Yeah, this is about to be a whole dumpster fire. Number one, this video does not have any sponsors. You're probably thrilled about that. Number two, I did not script this video. This is totally off the head. Number three, all of the camera gear and stuff that I'm using. I know a lot of y'all ask in the comment section what camera are you using to film this video, so on and so forth. That will be down there in the description. And please make sure y'all use the links. This is how I pay the bills to leave the lights on. You're gonna buy it anyway, so use the affiliate links down there in the description. I want to say this first, okay? Some of y'all are gonna be like, oh, here's Terry with another I'm switching camera video. Yeah, this is kind of what I do. I'm a camera channel. I test out all of these different cameras, and you know, I'm able to use whatever camera I need to in the season for whatever purpose I need it to. And I do have the unique ability to be able to just jump cameras a lot of times without having to think about cost and all that other stuff. But I do also recognize that most people don't have that ability, and I'm very thankful that I get to do this. But I also have to remind myself that some of the things that I might be, you know, not critical enough or too critical on, these things might be potential deal breakers to other people or not be deal breakers to other people because they might not have access to the type of cameras and the amount of cameras that I have access to. Okay, there's that. So I think we need to start this video off before I tell you what camera I'm switching to and why. We're giving the ZV-E1 its flowers. For $21.99, because that is what this costs, you are still getting a jam-packed camera. First of all, it's super tiny, okay? So that's that. I know I got that fat 50mm f1.2 gangster mode on here, but other than that, this is a tiny camera that has a full frame that can shoot amazing quality video. I mean, all of these cameras these days shoot amazing quality, but this one has some special stuff to it, right? So it's got, first of all, the same sensor out the FX3, FX6, A7S3, which we know is a beautiful sensor, creates amazing quality video, has that dual base ISO of 12,800, so it's a monster in low light, but also it's a super fast sensor because it's only a 12 megapixel sensor and it's not doing a whole bunch of oversampling, right? So that means that we get things like really quick roll and shutter, which is a big deal. We get things like pretty much uncropped higher frame rate, so 4K 60, no crop, it's no line skipping, no freaking pixel bending, none of that stuff, and a 10% crop on 4K 120. Again, no line skipping, no pixel bending, so it is really beautiful stuff. You get Sony's amazing autofocus, the built-in vlog mics, great stabilization, and the list goes on and on and on. This is really like a specialty video camera for 2,200 bucks while still being able to take 12 megapixel photos. So I would never tell you in 2025 that this camera is not worth it, even if there are better cameras out there, because this camera will be a powerhouse for years and years to come. So don't feel like if you got a ZV-E1 that you need to go run off and sell it for this camera I'm going to talk about because Tight Shirt Terry Warfield sold this. No, I'm not condoning any of my activities at all. I am a impulsive fly-by-night camera space D-bag, okay? I'm openly admitting that. Anyways, that doesn't mean that this camera has been without its flaws for me. So I'll tell you a couple things that bother me about it. I'm not a person that disqualifies a camera just because it's got one or two flaws. No, I work around them. I don't sit there and cry like a baby about it, okay? Anyways, the first thing is one of the most prevalent issues with the ZV-E1, and that is the overheating. Although I've learned to work around it, I got the little Ulanzi cooler fan and all of that stuff, which remedies the problem a lot of times. I'm not gonna sit here and act like this camera doesn't overheat. It's overheated on me a couple times while I'm using it to film, during live streams, etc., etc. It's not like a huge deal, but if you're somebody that needs to record longer takes, warmer environments, or you wanna do a lot of live streaming, you gotta be mindful that this camera can pack a punch, but because of that, the heat has to go somewhere. It's a super small body, so it is prone to overheating. So that is number one. Number two, I do not like the rear display on this camera at all. The rear display on the ZV-E1, I'm sorry, it is freaking skunk's booty cheeks. And it wouldn't be so bad if I had a full-size HDMI port to hook up to it, to hook up a monitor with, but I don't. I got a micro HDMI port, so that is a big deal. The lack of video assist when it comes to like waveforms, vector scopes, anamorphic support, like all of these video features, with this being a video first vlog camera, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't have them. So, you know, usually you will hook up a monitor to remedy that, to get all of that stuff. And you could still do that with this, but then you got to go back to use the flimsy HDMI micro tiny port, which is just a fail in itself. So those three things. Oh, there's a fourth. Although this camera can take great quality photos, they are only 12 megapixels. And although 12 megapixels is enough for socials, I prefer to have like 24 megapixels. So sometimes when I want to take this as my only camera, I got to think about, man, I only got 12 megapixels to work with, which means I don't have that same ability to crop and post and all that stuff that I would with a higher megapixel camera. So those are my major qualms with the ZV-E1. Of course, I can nitpick, but I'm not going to. So with that being said, again, I'm not telling you that because Tight Shirt Terry Warfield has found a better camera to replace his primary video camera that you should go run out and do the same. Just because there's better gear out there does not mean that the gear you have or the gear that you're gonna buy is inferior, because it's freaking not. The ZV-E1 is still amazing. However, I found a camera for me that fills my needs and it covers the things that I talked about in this video and gives me more. I guess I might as well just go ahead and tell you right after this break. No, I'm just playing. It is, where did I put it? The Lumix S1 II. I can hear it now. Here we go in the comments. Oh, Terry's shilling for Lumix. Terry's paid to make this video. Bro, sis, please shut your ass up. No, I'm not. If I was getting paid, I would tell you I'm being paid. I tell y'all any other time I'm being paid for a video. This is just something that I feel strongly about, and this S1 II checks a lot of those same boxes for me that the ZV-E1 did, that not a lot of other cameras at the price point could do, and way more. Now the first thing, or the second thing I should say, now you're gonna say is, well, the S1 Mark II costs so much more money than the ZV-E1, and I do have to acknowledge that the S1 Mark II does cost $31.99. The ZV-E1 only costs $21.99. So yes, it is $1,000 more expensive. So I don't want this to be a camera comparison, because technically I shouldn't be comparing them. They're in two totally different price brackets. And also, I'm not saying that you should go out and sell your ZV-E1 and be stupid like Terry for the S1 Mark II, which is going to cost you another $1,000, because again, the ZV-E1 is more than capable. However, okay, this brings so much, y'all, and I'm not gonna go into everything in this video, but let's tackle the things that I talked about with the ZV-E1 that made it special to me. Started with image quality. Well, this S1 Mark II, along with every other freaking camera out there that's full frame or even crop sensor these days, all of them produce stunning imagery. So that's not really a big deal. For me, it is the fact that you have up to 6K 60 frames per second in this camera, and you have it in every flavor that you want to, every aspect ratio, every codec option. You get open gate with the Lumix S1 Mark II. The second thing is, I talked about the ZV-E1 having those uncropped frame rates, right? So you got like 4K 60 no crop, 4K 120 no crop. Well, the S1 Mark II also has 4K 60 no crop, and it has 4K 120 with only a minimal crop. Now, they're not as clean as the Sony ZV-1 is, but they get damn close, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference unless you looked at both of them side by side. But again, we're talking about 4K 120, and we go back to that 6K open gate, 5.8K 60, all of those things. So this whole slow motion thing, because most of y'all know I'm a slow-mo snob, I will film everything in freaking 120 at f1.2 if I could. I don't care what y'all got to say about it, but it's checking that box for me. The next thing we talked about was rolling shutter. We love the ZV-E1 because it is such a fast sensor, and that's been a problem with a lot of other mirrorless cameras, especially hybrid cameras that have higher megapixels, because they have to oversample or downsample, and the cost of that is processor performance, which means that the sensors sometimes just can't keep up. The S1 has a 24 megapixel stacked, I should say partially stacked sensor. So the rolling shutter is almost just as fast as the ZV-E1. It is that freaking good. Is it, you know, totally gone? No, but I'm completely happy with the rolling shutter performance of the S1 Mark II. Also, to add to that, it shoots 70 frames per second in photos when you switch it over to electronic, which the S1 R Mark II, which I'm using for this camera right here, could do 30, but the rolling shutter performance is not that good. You don't have that problem with the S1 Mark II. So 70 frames per second is crazy fast with full autofocus and all of that other stuff. So there's that. The next thing is low light performance. Now, this does not use the same type of dual base ISO circuitry as the FX3, the FX6, the ZV-E1. However, I'm gonna link a video Armando did, and he tested the S1 Mark II against the Sony FX3's dual base ISO 12,800. And you know what he found? That at ISO 5000, 6400, this camera gives you better performance and dynamic range and those higher ISO values, even when you go up to 12,800, than the ZV-E1 does. So I can no longer say the ZV-E1 is the king of low light, because the S1 Mark II can compete directly with it, and I much prefer the lower second base ISO of 5000 on the S1 Mark II. Now, the next thing we talked about was the ZV-E1 only having 12 megapixels, right? Well, the S1 Mark II again has 24, which is double the resolution. And that makes a difference when it comes to which cameras am I gonna bring with me. Usually when I had to bring my ZV-E1, I always had to think about, man, I need to bring a photography camera also. Well, although 24 megapixels is still a little low, I would prefer to still have like 33 megapixels or something like that. 24 is still more than enough, and having that on top of all of the other stuff that I talked about is a big deal. The other thing I talked about with the ZV-E1 is the fact that it doesn't have a whole lot when it comes to video assist tools, right? And you know, if you've seen Lumix cameras before, you know what type of crap that they put in these. They have literally everything in the kitchen sink thrown at them, from multiple frame markers for shooting an open gate, to shutter angle, to vector scopes, waveforms, full anamorphic D-squeeze support and stabilization, and the list goes on and on and on. So I get a lot more customization of video assist to put right here on the screen, and I don't even need to hook up an external monitor unless I absolutely need to. And if I do need to, it's got a full-size HDMI port. Now, I do have to acknowledge that, sure, it is a bigger body than the ZV-E1, but not by a whole lot, if I'm honest. And it also has a fan, and the ZV-E1 does not have a fan whatsoever. And that's not to say that the S1 Mark II won't overheat, but it will take a whole lot longer for the S1 Mark II to overheat versus the ZV-E1. And the other thing that I used to say is I can't get rid of the Sony because it's got USB streaming, and now the Lumix cameras have USB streaming. But then we add in things like real-time LUT, where you can put 39 freaking LUTs in the camera, right? And you can use these for photos, video. You can you know, customize them, tweak them, download new ones from the Lumix Lab app on the fly, create new ones, share them with your friends for them to install. Like the Lumix Lab ecosystem, I'm getting tongue-tied now, is really fantastic. The S1 Mark II, in my opinion, is the best camera that you can buy right now, hands down, across the board, dollar for dollar, pound for pound. I know like the Nikon Z8, Z9 is out there, the Sony Alpha 1 Mark II is out there, A9 III. Like, there's other really, really powerful cameras out there, but for the money at $3,200 for you to get all of this, it's kind of hard for me to argue with it. Like, the only reason I would still pick up my Sony camera, my ZV-E1, I should say, over the S1 Mark II, honestly, is lenses. And we are not gonna just glaze over the fact that Sony doesn't have the best lineup of lenses, native and third party. They absolutely do. However, if I wanna use cinema glass, you know, anamorphic glass, all of that other stuff, there's just so many more options with the S1 Mark II. So there we have it. What I'm not gonna do is act like this is the end-all be-all camera for tight shirt Terry. No, when the next camera comes along that can do everything that I need it to do, and it does it in a more spectacular function than the S1 II, and gives me more. This new camera might be from Sony, could be from Canon, could be from Nikon, it could be from DJI, whoever. Don't think that I'm not gonna jump ship and make a whole nother video just like this, because I am. However, in the meantime, this right now, the S1 Mark II, is my go-to camera for everything unless I need super high megapixels. If I need super high megapixels, I'll grab the S1R Mark II or my Sony Alpha 7 R5. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. I'm sure some of y'all are gonna call me a bird brain, idiot, all of that other stuff. I don't care. I'm doing what makes me happy, which is the same thing that you should be doing. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers on this channel, y'all. So make sure if you enjoyed this video that you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that you get notified when new videos go up. And if you want to watch my full video on the S1 Mark II, I will leave it linked at the end of this video. So till next time, I'm out of here, tight shirt, Terry Warfield. Peace and chicken grease. I'm out, y'all. Much love. Peace.